All right, everyone, welcome to our deep dive on how to absolutely crush it in your interview for a tourism product manager role. We're going to be using the RoleCatcher Career Guide and Interview Guide. So if you have those ready, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Sounds good.
So first things first, what exactly does a tourism product manager do?
Well, a lot of people think it's just working in travel, but it goes so much deeper than that. You're really like the architect of these incredible travel experiences. You're doing tons of research, strategizing, working with all these different suppliers to bring really amazing travel products to life.
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions this is a job that could take you to some pretty amazing places. Literally.
Yeah, and figuratively, right. You're shaping an entire industry, and it's always evolving. But it also says it's a super competitive field.
Which is why we're here to give you that extra edge. So let's dive into the heart of this deep dive, the interview questions. RoleCatcher's interview guide has 8 common questions. We're going to strategically unpack each one. So, question number 1. Describe your experience in developing and launching new tourism products. I feel like this one is all about showing you're not just a dreamer, but a doer.
Totally. They don't just want a laundry list of projects. They want to see the process, how you take an idea all the way from concept to that successful launch.
So, how much detail should someone go into? Should they break down every single step?
Oh, good question. I'd say keep it focused. Pick one specific product launch that really showcases your skills. Highlight your role in each stage, so briefly touch on the initial research, how you figured out those customer needs, the development process, any testing you did, and finally, how you actually marketed and launched it.
Right. Making sure to emphasize the results is key.
Absolutely. Did the product meet its goals? Did it get rave reviews? Quantify those achievements whenever possible.
Okay, I'm already seeing how important it is to tailor your answers to this specific job. Now, what about those curveball follow-up questions? Like, what might the interviewer ask to dig a little deeper?
Yeah, I think they might ask about any challenges you faced during that launch, or how you measured the product's success, maybe even what you learned from the whole experience and how you applied those lessons to future projects.
Oh, being able to think on your feet is crucial. What about common pitfalls to avoid? What should someone absolutely not say?
Well, I would definitely say vague answers are a no-go. Don't just say, I developed a new tour package. You got to be specific. What made it unique? What was your role in each stage? And for goodness sake, back up your claims with numbers. Saying, we increased bookings by 20% has a lot more impact than simply saying we had more booking.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Numbers speak volumes. Do you have a sample response our listener can use as a starting point?
Yeah, I do. Here's one. In my previous role, I spearheaded the launch of a new adventure tourism package aimed at millennials. We conducted extensive market research, identifying a growing demand for authentic, off-the-beaten-path experiences. I led the package development, collaborating with local guides and activity providers to create a unique itinerary. We tested the product with a focus group, incorporating their feedback to refine the experience. Finally, I spearheaded the marketing campaign, leveraging social media and influencer partnerships. The result: we exceeded our sales targets by 15% in the first quarter, exceeding our initial projections.
Oh, that's awesome. It's concise, it highlights achievements, and it really paints a picture of your involvement. Remember, everyone, this is just a template. Personalize it with your experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of personalization, this is where RoleCatcher's AI features can really come in handy.
All right. Tell me more about how RoleCatcher can help with these interview questions.
So their AI-powered platform analyzes tons of interview questions and provides tailored feedback. And this feedback is based on your specific job role. So for a tourism product manager, it's going to highlight those key skills and experiences that employers are looking for, and it will even suggest ways to refine your answers.
So it's like having a personal interview coach.
Yeah.
Powered by AI.
Precisely. And it doesn't stop there. RoleCatcher also has this really cool CV resume builder that uses AI to tailor your application to specific job requirements, making sure you're highlighting the most relevant aspects of your experience.
That's incredible. So we can use RoleCatcher to refine our answers and tailor our CV resume to impress those recruiters. Now, back to the questions. Number 2, how do you identify and analyze tourism trends and customer preferences? This one feels all about showing you're plugged into the pulse of the industry.
Yeah, you got to be like a trend spotter,
Yeah.
constantly keeping your finger on the pulse of the tourism industry. Knowing what's next. Are you aware of the latest travel fads, shifting demographics, emerging technologies, all that good stuff?
So it's not enough to just say, I read travel blogs. You need to show a deeper understanding of the forces shaping the industry.
Right. When answering, You want to showcase your knowledge of diverse sources. Mention industry reports, travel publications, social media analytics, customer review platforms, even competitor analysis. And hey, don't forget about attending industry events and conferences.
Right. It's not just about gathering information, though. They want to know how you analyze those trends and turn them into actionable insights.
You got it. Let's say you've identified a rising interest in sustainable travel. A great answer would show how you could turn that trend into concrete action. Maybe you propose partnering with sustainable tourism operators or developing packages that highlight the region's commitment to environmental conservation.
That's a great example. Anticipating those potential follow-up questions, I bet they might ask you to elaborate on a specific trend and how you'd capitalize on it.
Definitely. They might also ask about a time you noticed a trend before your competitors, or how you've used data analysis to make product decisions based on emerging customer preferences. Be ready to showcase your analytical skills and strategic thinking.
Got it. What are some things to avoid when answering this question? Like, what would make the interviewer cringe?
Don't just list trends without explaining their potential impact or your plan of action, and avoid sounding too general or theoretical. Use real-world examples and tie your analysis back to the company's offerings or target market.
Solid advice. Can you give our listener a sample response to get those creative juices flowing?
Sure. Try this on for size. I use a multi-pronged approach to stay ahead of tourism trends. I regularly consult industry reports from reputable sources like the World Tourism Organization and Skift, but I also delve into social media conversations and customer reviews to gauge sentiment and emerging preferences. For example, I recently noticed a surge in interest in wellness tourism, particularly among younger demographics. This prompted me to propose developing a yoga and meditation retreat package that incorporates local wellness practices and organic cuisine, aligning with our company's focus on authentic and transformative travel experiences.
Now, that's a response that shows you're not just aware of trends. You're already thinking about how to turn them into opportunities. It shows you're proactive and have that strategic mindset.
Exactly. And don't forget, you can use RoleCatcher's CV resume builder to highlight those skills. Your market analysis experience, your trend spotting abilities. It's all about making your application stand out from the start.
Okay, on to question number 3. How do you ensure that tourism products are accessible and inclusive for all customers? This is such an important topic. It's not just about checking boxes. It's about genuinely creating experiences everyone can enjoy.
For sure. They want to see that you understand the importance of catering to a diverse range of needs and abilities. It's about recognizing that everyone deserves the opportunity to explore the world, regardless of their physical limitations, cultural background, or any other factor that might traditionally create barriers to travel.
So it's not just about saying, yes, our tours are wheelchair accessible. It's about demonstrating a deep understanding of what inclusivity truly means in the context of travel.
Absolutely. A strong answer will show you can anticipate those potential barriers and proactively implement solutions. For example, you might mention providing detailed information about accessibility features on your website, offering alternative itineraries for travelers with mobility limitations, partnering with organizations that specialize in accessible travel, or even ensuring your staff receive training on sensitivity and awareness.
I love how this question really pushes you to think beyond the obvious and consider the needs of a wide range of travelers. What about potential follow-up questions? I imagine they might ask for specific examples of how you've incorporated accessibility and inclusivity into past projects.
For sure, and they might also ask about your process for identifying potential barriers, or how you've worked with diverse communities to make sure their needs are met. They're looking for evidence that you walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Makes sense. On that note, let's talk about things to avoid when answering this question. What are some red flags that would make the interviewer question your commitment to inclusivity?
Definitely avoid giving generic or superficial responses. Don't just say, we're committed to diversity, without providing concrete examples or evidence of action, and avoid making assumptions about what different groups need. It's so important to involve diverse voices in the product development process and get feedback from a variety of perspectives.
Such an important point. Now, do you have a sample response our listener can use as a springboard for their own answer?
Yeah, I do. How about this? I believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to experience the joy of travel, and I'm passionate about creating products that are accessible and inclusive. In my previous role, I spearheaded the development of a new tour itinerary specifically designed for travelers with visual impairments. We collaborated with a local organization for the blind to gather feedback and ensure the itinerary met their specific needs. We also provided detailed audio descriptions of each destination and trained our tour guides on how to effectively assist visually impaired travelers. The result was a truly transformative experience for our customers, and it was incredibly rewarding to see the positive impact it had.
That's a powerful example. It shows that you understand the nuances of accessibility and are willing to go the extra mile to create inclusive travel experiences. And it showcases the positive impact of those efforts.
Right, and remember, you can also use RoleCatcher to showcase your commitment to accessibility and inclusivity on your profile. It can help you attract the attention of employers who share those values, creating a win-win situation.
Okay, let's tackle question number 4. How do you manage relationships with suppliers and partners in the tourism industry? This feels like a question that gets right to the heart of collaboration and negotiation skills.
Yeah, for sure. A tourism product manager works within a whole ecosystem of airlines, hotels, tour operators, activity providers, and more. The interviewer wants to know that you can build and nurture those relationships effectively.
So it's not just about getting the best deal, it's about understanding their needs, building trust, and creating partnerships that benefit everyone.
Absolutely. When you answer this question, highlight your understanding of the tourism supply chain. Mention your experience negotiating contracts, finding common ground, resolving conflicts amicably, and maintaining open communication. Those are key skills for a tourism product manager.
Communication seems absolutely crucial in this role. What about potential follow-up questions? I'm guessing they might want to hear about a specific challenge you faced with a supplier or partner and how you resolved it.
Yeah, they might also ask about your approach to negotiating contracts, or how you ensure suppliers meet quality standards and stick to deadlines. Be ready to showcase your problem-solving skills and your ability to handle those sometimes tricky situations.
Okay, thinking about those potential pitfalls, what are some things to avoid saying when answering this question?
Hmm. Definitely don't come across as someone who's only interested in getting the best deal,
Hmm.
regardless of the impact on your partners. Avoid sounding adversarial or inflexible. Instead, emphasize your collaborative approach and your commitment to building win-win relationships.
That's great advice. Now, can you give our listener a sample response to help them structure their thoughts?
Of course, here's one to try. I believe strong supplier and partner relationships are essential in the tourism industry. I prioritize open communication, transparency, and a collaborative approach to negotiation. In my previous role, I faced a situation where a key accommodation provider unexpectedly raised their rates, jeopardizing the profitability of one of our most popular tour packages. Instead of just accepting the increase, I initiated a dialogue with the provider, explaining the potential impact on our business and exploring alternative solutions. We negotiated a compromise that met both our needs, preserving the relationship and ensuring the viability of the tour.
That's a great example of turning a potential conflict into a collaborative solution. It really shows your negotiation skills and your commitment to those key partnerships.
Exactly, and this ties back to what the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentioned about networking. It really emphasizes building those relationships within the field, attending industry events, joining associations, and actively connecting with people.
So it's about who you know as much as what you know.
Exactly. A strong network can open doors to new opportunities, insights, and even give you a competitive edge in the job market. Speaking of a competitive edge, let's not forget about those certifications RoleCatcher mentioned.
You're right. The career guide listed several certifications that can boost your credibility and make you a more attractive candidate.
Yeah, it specifically mentions certifications like Project Management Professional, PMP, Certified Product Manager, CPM, Certified Marketing Professional, CMP, Certified Event Planner, CEP, and even Certified Tourism Ambassador, CTA.
Wow, that's quite a list.
Yeah,
So if you're serious about a career in tourism product management, these certifications are worth looking into.
absolutely. They show you're committed to professional development and have a deep understanding of industry standards. They can even give you an advantage during salary negotiations.
Great points. Now, before we move on to the next set of interview questions, let's take a moment to highlight how RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon in this process.
I completely agree. RoleCatcher provides so many resources that can help you tailor your answers and practice your delivery. It's like having a personalized toolkit for success.
From crafting a standout CV resume to practicing your interview answers with AI feedback, RoleCatcher empowers you to put your best foot forward.
And don't forget about the wealth of knowledge available on the platform. With career guides, skill guides, and a massive database of employers, you can research companies, identify your strengths, and tailor your application to specific roles.
Okay, after that quick RoleCatcher pep talk, let's get back to those interview questions. We've got 4 down and 4 to go. Buckle up, everyone. We'll be back in the next part of this deep dive with more expert insights and strategic advice to help you ace that interview.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready to tackle the next round of interview questions.
Absolutely. We left off talking about those valuable certifications that can give you a leg up in the tourism industry. It's fascinating how something like a certification can really boost your credibility.
Yeah, for sure. It shows you're taking the initiative to develop your skills and stay ahead of the curve. Speaking of staying ahead of the curve, our next question is all about measuring success.
Okay, bring it on.
All right, here it is. How do you measure the success of tourism products and campaigns? This one's all about demonstrating your analytical skills and data-driven approach.
Ooh, data-driven decisions. I love it. So it's not enough to just say, hey, our tour was popular. You need to show them you can back up your claims with concrete evidence.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see that you can define those key performance indicators, those KPIs, track the data, and use those insights to make smart decisions about future offerings.
Makes sense. So what are some examples of KPIs that a tourism product manager might track?
Oh, it could be anything from customer satisfaction scores and online reviews to website traffic, booking conversion rates, social media engagement, or even the overall profitability of a tour package. The key is to choose KPIs that align with the specific goals of each product or campaign.
Right, so you need to show them you can connect the dots between the data and the bigger picture. How would you recommend someone showcase their analytical skills when answering this question?
Don't be afraid to get a little technical here.
Yeah.
Talk about specific tools you've used, like Google Analytics or social media monitoring platforms. Maybe you mentioned A/B testing different marketing messages or conducting post-trip surveys to gather customer feedback. The point is to demonstrate that you're not just collecting data, you're using it strategically.
Okay, so demonstrating those strategic thinking skills is key. Thinking ahead to potential follow-up questions. I could see them asking about a time you used data to improve a product or campaign, or maybe even a time when the results weren't what you expected, and how you handled that.
Oh, those are great examples. They might also ask about your approach to setting targets and tracking progress, or your experience with using data visualization tools to communicate those insights to stakeholders. Be prepared to really showcase your data literacy and your ability to tell a story with numbers.
Data storytelling. I love that. Okay, thinking about those potential pitfalls, what should someone avoid saying when answering this question? What would make the interviewer zone out?
Well, don't get bogged down in overly technical jargon or complicated explanations. Keep it clear and concise, focusing on those key insights and the actions you took based on the data, and avoid being vague. Be specific about the KPIs you track, the tools you use, and the outcomes you achieved.
Specificity is key. Now, can you give our listener a sample response that they can adapt to their own experiences?
Here's one. I believe that data-driven decision-making is essential for success in the tourism industry. I always start by defining clear KPIs that are aligned with the goals of the product or campaign. For example, when launching a new adventure tour package, I tracked metrics like website traffic, booking conversion rates, social media engagement, and customer satisfaction ratings. We use Google Analytics and social media monitoring tools to gather data, and I regularly analyze those metrics to identify areas for improvement. Based on our analysis, we adjusted our marketing strategy, targeting specific demographics with tailored messaging, which led to a 10% increase in bookings within the first month.
That's a fantastic example. It's clear, it's concise, and it shows that you can connect the dots between data analysis and tangible results.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI features can really help you fine-tune your approach. Their platform can analyze your responses and provide specific feedback on how to make them even stronger, highlighting areas where you can add more detail or quantify your achievements.
It's like having a data-driven interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to question number 6. How do you ensure that tourism products and campaigns are aligned with brand values and messaging? This one really gets to the heart of your understanding of branding and marketing.
Ooh, branding. It's more than just a logo, right? It's about the entire customer experience and how it reflects the company's values and personality.
You got it. The interviewer wants to see that you understand the company's brand identity and can translate that into compelling travel experiences. Think of yourself as a brand champion, ensuring that every product and campaign reinforces the company's core values, personality, and unique selling proposition.
So it's not just about slapping a logo on a brochure, it's about creating a cohesive brand experience that truly resonates with the target audience and sets the company apart from the competition.
Exactly. A strong answer will demonstrate your ability to articulate the company's brand essence. And then explain how specific products and campaigns reinforce those values. For example, if the brand is known for luxury and exclusivity, your product offerings might focus on high-end accommodations, personalized services, and those unique, unforgettable experiences that appeal to a discerning traveler.
Okay, so doing your homework on the company before the interview is essential. You really need to understand their brand identity inside and out. Now, thinking about those potential follow-up questions, I can imagine them asking you to analyze one of their existing products or campaigns and explain how it aligns with their brand values.
They might also ask about a time you had to adjust a product or campaign to better align with the brand messaging, or your experience in developing brand guidelines for tourism experiences. Be prepared to demonstrate your understanding of branding principles and how you apply them in real-world situations.
So it's about showing them you can walk the brand walk, not just talk the brand talk. What are some common mistakes to avoid when answering this question? What should someone absolutely not do?
Don't just regurgitate the company's mission statement or marketing slogans. Go deeper. Show them you truly understand their brand personality and how it translates into tangible customer experiences. And avoid being vague. Be specific about how you've ensured brand consistency in your past work and how you would approach it in this role.
Great advice. Now, can you give our listener a sample response to get their creative juices flowing?
Here's one. I believe that every touch point in the customer journey should reinforce the company's brand values and messaging. Before developing any new product or campaign, I take the time to understand the company's brand identity, target market, and competitive landscape. For example, in my previous role at a company specializing in ecotourism, we ensured that all our tour packages emphasize sustainability, authenticity, and responsible travel practices. We partnered with local communities, minimized our environmental impact, and educated our travelers about the importance of conservation. This commitment to our brand values resonated with our target market and helped us build a strong reputation as a leader in sustainable tourism.
That's a great example. It really shows how brand values can be woven into every aspect of the tourism experience.
Yeah.
And how that consistency can build a strong reputation.
Exactly. And remember, you can highlight your understanding of branding principles on your RoleCatcher profile. This can help you attract companies that prioritize brand management and a customer-centric approach, making it a win-win situation for both you and the employer.
Okay, we've covered 6 key interview questions so far. Before we dive into the final 2, let's take a quick detour and remind ourselves about the power of RoleCatcher.
It's such a valuable tool for anyone preparing for interviews, especially in a competitive field like tourism.
What I find particularly impressive is how RoleCatcher uses AI to analyze job descriptions and pinpoint the specific skills and keywords that employers are looking for. You can then use that information to tailor your CV, resume, and application materials, making sure you're hitting all the right notes.
It's like having a personalized guide to creating the perfect application. And with RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback on your interview answers, you can refine your delivery, boost your confidence, and ensure you're communicating effectively.
Plus, with access to over 120,000 interview questions and answers, you can practice for a wide range of scenarios and be prepared for anything they throw your way.
It's like having a secret weapon in your job search arsenal. Okay, ready to jump back into those interview questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it. Okay, deep divers, we're back for the last 2 interview questions in our tourism product manager interview prep. And then you'll be ready to absolutely crush that interview.
Sounds good.
Question number 7. How do you identify and mitigate risks associated with tourism products and activities? This one feels like it requires a blend of, foresight and being practical.
Right. It's not just about creating amazing experiences. It's also about safety and making sure everyone has a good time.
So what kinds of risks are we even talking about here? Like, is it just bad weather or flight delays?
Oh, those are definitely factors, but it goes way beyond that. Think about things like political instability, health outbreaks, natural disasters, even, just negative online reviews. Those can really damage a product's reputation. Tourism is a global industry, so you need to be aware of so many potential challenges.
Wow, that's a lot. How can someone even answer this question without being totally overwhelmed?
Well, you really want to show that you have a system for managing risk. Talk about how you research destinations in depth, looking at historical data, current events, travel advisories, anything that could give you insights into potential problems.
So being a detective is part of the job.
Basically. And once you've identified those risks, you need to have strategies in place to deal with them, like maybe building backup plans into itineraries, having backup suppliers, or setting up clear communication protocols in case of emergencies.
Yeah, being prepared for those what-if scenarios.
Exactly. And don't forget about insurance. Having the right coverage is so important in tourism. It protects you and your travelers.
Speaking of travelers, I bet they'll ask about a time a risk actually happened and how you dealt with it.
Oh, for sure. They want to see that you can stay calm under pressure, think on your feet, and make decisions that put your travelers' safety first.
Okay, what about things not to say when answering this question?
I would definitely avoid downplaying the importance of risk management. Saying something like nothing ever goes wrong on my trips is not going to impress anyone. It just makes you sound naive.
Right, like tempting fate.
Exactly. And don't be too vague. Like, instead of saying, I'd assess the situation, give specific examples of what you would do to handle different kinds of risks.
So be specific.
Yes.
Do you have a sample answer for our listeners?
Okay, here's one to try. When I plan a new tour, I always do a thorough risk assessment. I look at the destination's safety record, weather patterns, political climate, potential health concerns. Then I develop backup plans for different scenarios, like flight delays, supplier cancellations, even medical emergencies. For instance, on a recent trip to a region that had limited medical facilities, I made sure we had a really well-stocked first aid kit and a clear evacuation plan in case of a serious illness or injury.
Perfect. That shows you're taking risk management seriously without, freaking anyone out.
Yeah, it's all about finding that balance.
Okay, on to our final interview question. How do you collaborate with internal teams to ensure successful product launches and campaigns? This one's all about teamwork and communication.
Definitely. You've got to remember, a tourism product manager doesn't work alone. They rely on strong partnerships with colleagues from all different departments to really make those travel experiences happen.
So who are we talking about when we say internal teams?
It could be marketing, sales, finance, operations, customer service, even legal and IT, depending on the project.
So what's the interviewer really trying to figure out with this question?
They want to know if you're a team player. Can you communicate clearly, delegate tasks, handle conflicts in a positive way? Basically, are you someone people want to work with?
Right, being able to work well with others is important in every job, but especially in tourism. So many moving parts. How can someone really showcase those teamwork skills in their answer?
I would say give specific examples of how you've collaborated with different teams in the past. Mention any project management tools you've used to keep everyone on track, or how you've made communication between departments smooth. Maybe talk about a time you had to deal with competing priorities and how you found a solution that worked for everyone.
It's about showing them you get the big picture.
Exactly. And don't forget to highlight your communication skills. Can you explain complex ideas in a way that makes sense? Are you a good listener? Can you give and receive feedback in a positive way? These are all so important when you're working on a team.
I'm sure they'll have follow-up questions about your experience working on a team.
Yeah, they might ask about a tough team project and how you overcame obstacles, or a time you had to deal with a difficult colleague. They want to know how you handled those tricky situations that pop up when you're working with different personalities.
Okay, any pitfalls to avoid when answering this question?
One thing I'd say is don't put down former colleagues or blame others when projects don't go well. Focus on the positive side of working as a team and how you've helped achieve successful outcomes. And don't make it all about you. Acknowledge the contributions of others and show that you value different perspectives.
That's great advice. Do you have a sample answer?
Of course. Try this. I believe that strong internal collaboration is key to launching successful tourism products and campaigns. I always try to build positive relationships with colleagues across different departments and make sure everyone agrees on goals and timelines. For example, when we were developing a new sustainable tourism package, I worked closely with the marketing team to create a really compelling story that highlighted our eco-friendly practices. And I worked with the sales team to target travelers who are passionate about the environment, and with the operations team to make sure the trip went off without a hitch. We used a project management tool to keep track of everything, had regular check-in meetings, and we were always open to sharing ideas and feedback. The result was a really successful product launch that exceeded our expectations.
Wow, what a great example. It really shows how important it is to work together, communicate clearly, and have everyone working towards the same goal.
Yeah, and remember, you can use RoleCatcher's AI tools to practice your answers and refine your delivery.
Okay, deep divers, we made it. That's all 8 interview questions for tourism product managers. Hopefully you're feeling a lot more confident and prepared to ace that interview and land your dream job.
Be yourself, be enthusiastic, and be prepared to showcase those unique skills and experiences that make you stand out. And don't forget about all the amazing resources RoleCatcher has to offer. They can really help you on your journey.
Right. With RoleCatcher, you can create a standout CV resume, practice your interview answers with AI feedback, and even connect with employers who are looking for talented people just like you.
So go out there and rock those interviews. We're rooting for you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.